Hey everybody, KJ here, and today we're going to go ahead and review the TrackIR by Natural Point. It is a head tracking system that tracks head movement in 6 different ways, across yaw, pitch, roll, lean, raise, and also zoom. The unit itself has a raw resolution size of 640 by 480. It has a sample rate of 120 frames per second and a response time of 9 milliseconds, and the most important statistic of all, it has a 51.7 degree field of view. So it takes that field of view and maps all that motion into the software, and then depending on your settings, it will amplify that. We're going to go ahead and touch on that in a brief second. In comparison to the TrackIR version 4, it has a 46 degree field of view, so the difference is fairly significant. The version 5 also doubles the resolution. It's worth the money to go ahead and get the newer version. And in terms of what it comes with, the base unit will come with the attachment to go ahead and track movement. It goes right on the top of any hat. There is a Pro Clip attachment that you can get that will clip to the side of any microphone. I do not have that at the time of this review, so we're just going to go ahead and review the factory unit. The base itself has a magnet, so you can go ahead and detach it and put it back and basically put it in any position that you need with the feet, because they will go ahead and contract and do everything that you need to do to be able to attach to basically any monitor out there. In terms of the software, again, you really need to have the settings fine-tuned for sim racing. It does work with flight sims. With that in mind, when you turn 90 degrees or less, you can go ahead and make it so that you can look behind you. So obviously that is not something we want to do in sim racing, and out of the box, that's basically how the unit comes. So we're going to go ahead and show you the proper settings to get the most out of the unit itself. If you do not change those settings, you will not have a good experience. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the software side of things next. We're going to go ahead and wrap everything up with pros, cons, and a conclusion, and that's it. Let's go ahead and jump into the software side of things and see how it handles and see what we need to go ahead and set up to have a good experience. Alright, now that we have everything unboxed, let's go ahead and install the software and get everything set up. So just open up an internet browser and go to the URL on screen. We're going to go ahead and download version 5.2.2. You're going to notice that the software was released February 7th of 2013. There are a couple small things that I have an issue with, specifically alt-tabbing, but we'll go ahead and cover that when we go ahead and get into a practice session. For now, just go ahead and run the installer, just like you would with any kind of installer. It's going to have a couple next prompts. Just go ahead and go through those, click finish. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Afterwards, go ahead and open up the software. It's going to look like this. You're going to notice that it's for the most part all over the place with the settings that it has. It's not ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and take the slider up here for speed. We're going to dial that all the way back, all the way to 0.1, and you'll notice almost instantly it's much better at that point. The movement is a little bit delayed, it feels like, so we're going to go ahead and change that by adjusting the smooth rating. I like to go ahead and set that to about 3. 3 seems pretty good, so it's going to delay that movement a little bit and just kind of smooth it out so it's not so jerky, but 3 seems to be a pretty good value there. After that, we're going to go ahead and come to the center option here. It comes default as F12. We're going to go ahead and click that, and for me I use the yellow button in the center of my GT2 steering wheel. Go ahead and use that. So now we can go ahead and look forward and press the center button, and now everything looks pretty good. It'll track us pretty well. Nothing out of the ordinary. Everything seems smooth. Now it's not as jerky as it was. It's worth noting that you can go ahead and change and fine-tune a lot of these options. You'll see your 6 degrees of freedom here that you can go ahead and adjust. You can adjust the speed, the degrees. You can adjust quite a bit in terms of fine-tuning your experience, but I highly recommend just using these settings right here, so 0.1 and a smoothness of 3, and change the center button to whatever you'd like, but definitely start out with these options first and just kind of get a feel for the system, and then afterwards start fine-tuning it like you would if you're tuning a car. So just treat it as like it's a base tune for a vehicle, and then just go ahead and customize it to your likings after you get a little bit situated with the product itself. So let's go ahead and take these settings and jump into iRacing and see what we think. Alright, now that we're in a practice session, let's go ahead and check out and see how the product actually does in an actual testing environment. So we're going to go ahead and center our view real quick. Pretty good there. Let's go ahead and get out there and warm up the tires and talk a little bit about the product and what it can add to the overall experience. So, as you'll notice, I can look around, I can see my rear view mirror, I can see my other mirrors. Just look around and it's natural. It's not jarring in any way. In the beginning, you're probably going to notice that you can, you'll have a little bit of eye fatigue. I had some eye fatigue for, I think it's probably about 30 minutes or so, and then I went ahead and, I think I used it for about an hour that session, and then when I came back afterwards, didn't notice it at all. It felt very comfortable, very natural. The hat eventually, the hat setup and everything like that, eventually it'll just go ahead and kind of fade back in the distance. You won't notice it at all anymore. The only thing about the hat is with streaming, unfortunately for myself, the viewers, they can't necessarily see my face. It obstructs the view a bit. And for me, that's a big issue. So personally, I'm trying to look in to see what I can do about basically addressing that and making so I can use it all the time, because right now I'm generally only using it by myself when I'm not streaming or I'm not recording. So it's a real big disappointment for me because the overall experience and just what it adds, it's quite large and it's substantial, and I really want that immersion every time that I play, and I'm just missing out on it, unfortunately. In terms of how it immerses you, well, obviously you can look around like we talked about, but the big thing that I've noticed coming from motorcycle racing is I and I'm sure everybody else that races cars or whatnot, you look into your turns. It's the thing to do. If you're gonna go where you look, so it's real important to look into your turns and look far ahead. And with this product, you can actually do that. You'll just find yourself eventually doing it, and it's not going to make you faster maybe, but it is going to make you a little bit more aware situationally. And it's just, it's what you do naturally. It feels good. That's the thing about the product. Everything feels good. Everything feels solid. And again, it's just not one of those products that's out front, kind of in your face. Sure, with the hat and the tracking system, it's kind of right there and you'll notice it early on, and obviously people that see you, they'll, hey, what do you have going on there? But other than that, you don't notice. It's just something that just blends into the experience and just adds to the overall experience. Let's go ahead and check out a lap here. We'll go ahead and just see what we can do and see how it feels overall.
1 minute 1.911.
There's a hot lap, and again, it's a phenomenal product for adding immersion, and for me, that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have that same feeling that I have when I'm racing motorcycles, but in a way that I can get it more often than a weekend or so every month. So this certainly adds to that experience and really just enriches that experience at the same time. But with that said, I did mention the software having a little bit of finickiness, and I'm going to go ahead and show you what I mean with that. So let's go ahead and Alt-Tab to the software to investigate that little issue that I was talking about. So we'll go ahead and Alt-Tab. We'll notice that it's not in the taskbar at all, but we'll come here, we'll open it here, and you'll notice that it says that it's open, but it's not open on any of my monitors at all. We have to then Alt-Tab to it, and then when it opens up, it'll finally open up. And sometimes the actual bar will look like this, and sometimes it'll be on another monitor, so you'll have to go ahead and expand it. It's not the worst thing ever, obviously. It's just one of those little minor annoyances. Every once in a while also the profile, even if you save a different profile, will kind of be lost and you have to go back through, select the profile. Generally I keep it on default because I really don't change any other settings. So sometimes I'll have to change my center button back. You'll never have to change your speed or your smoothing value. But again, there's just little pesky things in the software. Really nothing notable though. Those are the main issues that I have with the software. Other than that, I have no issues. As you can see, everything works flawlessly. Overall, everything works fantastically, even with the software issues aside. Even if you include them, they're small little things. There's really not much to complain about at all. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and cons and wrap everything up. So now that we went ahead and got the software set up, we've seen how it performs in races, let's go ahead and talk about the pros and cons of the actual unit and then get to the conclusion. So the biggest con for me personally, which probably won't affect many other people unless you're a streamer, is the hat. Unfortunately, wearing a hat with the clip blocks my viewers from being able to see my face pretty much from almost every angle that I've tried to set up on my rig. That is a huge drawback for me, and it's something that I'm trying to work on getting around. It's something that I might go ahead and invest in the Pro Clip to see if that'll help me out. Maybe I can get around having that issue. It seems like that is the only option that I have available. Aside from that, it is possible to have quite a bit of motion sickness if you are not used to the product, and if you experience motion sickness beforehand. It is very important to note that if you experience motion sickness beforehand, we had somebody try it on and it was amplified. Even with the settings properly tuned all the way down, there was just no way to go ahead and reduce the motion sickness that he was experiencing. For most people, I would say the first 30 minutes or first usage that you have with the product itself, you're going to feel that your eyes are a little bit heavy. It's just going to feel like there's a little bit of a strain. So maybe like if you were to read a book and you maybe need glasses, there's just that kind of eye fatigue. So that's going to go away in general after the first usage. After that, it's going to feel like normal. It's going to feel like just putting on a pair of glasses. In a couple minutes, you won't even notice that they're there. On to the next thing. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the pros, because really in terms of cons, that's about all I have. We could say that the price point is a little bit of a con at about $150 or more. At the same token, you can pick them up on eBay for about half the price. But really, the price isn't that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. Most of us have fairly elaborate rigs. It starts off very small, it always does, and then they just grow and grow and grow. So again, the price point, you could be on the pro or the con side. Either or, really, it's really not that bad. In terms of pros, the immersion level that you can experience with the unit itself, what it adds, is phenomenal. It's just second to none if you're looking at something that's going to go ahead and track motion and make you feel like you're actually attached and in the car. You can check all your mirrors, obviously. It really adds to the overall immersion. It's just like having butt kickers. If you were to take my butt kickers away, I would know in a heartbeat that there was something wrong. There was something really, really off with that sim experience right there. And it's going to be the same thing with this product. If you don't have it, you're going to notice the overall immersion that you get, the heightened sense of realism that you're actually there and your input actually matters. Is just amplified with a product like this. I cannot speak highly enough about the experience that you'll receive just because of having this product. In terms of having triple monitors or just one monitor, either way you're going to get a fantastic experience. I run a triple monitor setup. I love it with that setup. I can, you know, see all the mirrors that I have. I can just feel immersed in the game. I think you can probably get quite a bit more out of just having a single monitor, just because your field of view is a lot different. But that said, I don't think it's, you know, a product just for single monitors and not for triple monitors. I think the experience and the added benefit is there with any type of rig that you have set up. It's basically like a topping for food. So let's say if you went out and you had dinner somewhere that, you know, you enjoy. It doesn't matter what meal you have, taking the meal as the game, it's going to be good. It's going to be a good experience. You know, you're there, you're enjoying it regardless. But, you know, most of us are going to add, you know, salt, you know, ketchup, something like that. And I think the condiment really is going to be, you know, what's going to increase the immersion, which is going to be the TrackIR system. So it's just that little extra touch that's going to make that meal that much better. And that's exactly what it does. So it takes your immersion and just brings it up another level. So I think you can probably tell that I really like the product. It is fantastic at adding to the immersion. And it's really weird because at some point you're not going to notice that it's there. And it's not intrusive at all. I think that's probably one of the best things about it. It adds something, but you almost barely notice that it's there unless it's not there, which is just the same with the butt kickers. If the butt kickers aren't there, you notice, and you notice pretty quick, and it feels off, which is another reason why I'm really bummed about the hat situation, because I can't use it when I'm streaming. So I'm streaming every day basically for 3 to 4 hours, and I'm just unable to use it. So that, for me, that is the biggest con. Again, it's not going to affect many people, primarily just streamers, people that are making clips. In terms of pros, like I said, it's a fantastic product. I really can't recommend it enough. Good job, Natural Point. I can't ask for much more, but hopefully maybe we can come up with some kind of solution to not have to wear the hat. I say invest in it, check it out. Maybe your buddy has one, you can go over there and check it out, but it just increases the overall immersion. It's so fantastic for that, and I can't praise it enough for what it will do, and it just blends in seamlessly with the rest of everything and just increases everything, increases the overall experience, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking to go ahead and increase that immersion factor, and that's what it delivers.